I have a PhD in DIY, projects half done. And this beauty is the Kreg Concealed Hinge Jig. Because if these cabinet doors don't line up right, my whole man cave project's gonna look like a carnival funhouse.
Ah, brilliant. For once he's decided to buy the tool instead of spending 3 days attempting to build one, only to realise it's wildly inaccurate, mostly splinters and somehow on fire.
Oh, come on now. All right, it was just that one. Okay, 2 times. Only twice. Hi, I'm Dan, and that voice you heard, that's the disembodied British dude. He follows me around on every project like some wildlife researcher, tossing in his commentary whenever he thinks I'm about to mess things up, which is apparently often. I'm built for the wild, and if you're new here, hey, thanks for joining. And if you're returning, thank you. It really means a lot. I'm no cabinetry expert.
You think?
But what I do have is a dangerous amount of curiosity and a habit of taking on projects because I don't want somebody else to do them. I want to do them. So if you're no expert either, you're in the right place. Well, let's see if this jig can help me make these cabinets look top notch without burning up the entire weekend in the process. This thing's made from some kind of high-tech impact-resistant plastic, or as I am calling it today, blue magic. Flipping it over, you've got this honeycomb pattern molded into the back. It's just not for looks. It actually keeps this thing strong without adding weight. This little silver dial here, that's your cup size adjuster. It goes from 3 to 6 millimeters, which if you're like me, basically means turn it until it works. But in theory, it changes how far the hinge cup sits from the edge of the door. So, you know, hinge science. Next up to plate is the drill guide housing. Basically the blue ring where all the hinge magic happens. This is where the Forstner bit will ride, keeping it steady and perfectly aligned. I'll set that down for a second because here's the real star. The Forstner bit itself. Notice those sharp edges. That's going to slice a perfect circle into our door rather than chewing it up like a spade bit would. Now, let's marry these two. The bit slides into the housing nice and smooth. Give it a little spin, make sure it moves freely. If it's binding or scraping, that's your cue to check for any sawdust or debris in it before you start drilling. First up, the drill guide housing, the heart of the operation. Snap it into place, lock it down, and this little blue wonder is ready for action. Unlike the generic Forstner bits you might find rattling around in your toolbox, this one was purpose-built for the Kreg jig. And here's the secret handshake. That blue depth band, it's a built-in starting guide so you can set your stop collar quickly. Just remember, it's a suggestion, not a guarantee, so always double check for your project. Next, the stop collar. Slide it on, line it up so it just kisses the top of the blue mark, and lock it down with the Allen wrench. That's as far as the bit will travel. It'll stop cleanly before you go punching all the way through your door. And because Kreg apparently hires people who've lost their Allen wrench before, they built this little storage slot on the back. Out of sight, but right there when you need it. Clever. On each side of the jig, you'll find a built-in spot for the clamp. Kreg sells one made perfectly to fit, but honestly, you don't need anything fancy. Just a sturdy clamp will do the job. Now, you'll notice it doesn't sit completely flush on the board at first. That's because this little bump here, the set gauge for your material thickness. It keeps the jig lifted just enough to match your depth setting. Once that's in place, clamp it down. I'm using a pair of trusty F-clamps here. Not the official Kreg version, but they'll hold like a champ and get the job done. With the Forstner bit loaded and the drill and the housing locked into the jig, we're ready to make some sawdust. Clamp it down, line it up, and drill your hinge cup hole nice and steady. And once that's done, clean up the shavings. Not just for looks, but so you can see the next important step, the starter holes for your hinge screws. The jig uses a 1/16 inch bit here, which is just the right size to give the screws a head start without risking a split. Just remember the key is not to drill all the way through, just deep enough to guide the screw in later. And with that, you've got a clean hinge cup hole and perfectly placed starter holes, ready for the hardware. Woohoo! Well, that was easy. It was about as exciting as watching paint dry, but now I know how to use it. So Let's get into the real cabinet doors.
In the heart of his temporary base camp, a converted basement kitchen, the craftsman wrestles with the hinge package locked in mortal combat with its factory-sealed defences. At last, the spoils spill onto the workbench, and he instinctively seizes the most dangerous tool of all, the instruction manual. Staring down the ancient scrolls of wisdom, otherwise known as the Hinge instructions. Written, it would seem, by a committee of optometrists eager to sell more reading glasses. Even with corrective lenses, our subject's expression suggests these hieroglyphics might as well be in Klingon. The solution? A time-honoured ritual, complete disregard for the written word. After all, instructions are merely the manufacturer's opinion. At last, the DIYer graduates from practice runs to the real thing, installing hinges on the actual cabinet door destined for his royal headquarters office. Each screw driven with care, as though the fate of the realm depends on it. Which, in his mind, it probably does.
All right, well, the first door is on, and I've got to say, for my first go at using the Kreg Concealed Hinge Jig, I'm pretty happy with the results. Setup was quick, super user-friendly. You don't need to be a rocket scientist or a cabinet-making master to get clean, professional hinge cups with this thing. The learning curve was more of a speed bump than a mountain. That said, I was a little disappointed with the Forstner bit that came with the kit. By the third hole, even drilling into just pine, the shavings were getting finer, and it was noticeably more effort to cut. It worked, but I wouldn't say it stayed sharp for long. Overall, though, I like it. It did exactly as it was supposed to. And it makes installing hidden hinges a whole lot easier. And no, I'm not affiliated with Kreg. No sponsorships. Just a DIYer having fun building my headquarters office in the basement. In the next video, I'll be finishing the full install. Both doors painted and hung. And we'll wrap up this cabinet build as part of my office headquarters project. So if you want to see the complete look, come back around for that one. And hopefully I'll have most of this echo gone by then. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Field report. Our DIYer has tamed the hinge. The royal headquarters may now open and close with dignity. Subscribe to receive further sightings.